Anytime someone mentions this franchise now, all I can think about is this one video.
Show off your Halloween costume.
I am the child predator.
Yeah, we're gonna need a new name.
That's all I think about. Hi, welcome to Film Stash. My name is Douglas Campbell. And it's weird to think about, but the Predator franchise has been running since 1987. Crazy, I know. The original is an action staple, a highlight in a bunch of highlights within Arnold Schwarzenegger's career. A really cool and terrifying concept that could lead to a bunch of other really cool action films. So it's even crazier to think that within that almost 40-year span, most of the franchise has been kind of mixed. You have the highs of the original, you have a pretty campy but still I think pretty cool second film, the diminishing returns of the sequels that mostly do the same thing, some pretty disappointing crossover films depending on who you ask, and of course But since 2019, whenever Disney acquired Fox, I hate to give Disney some props, but they've been doing some pretty cool stuff with the property lately. The formula of the original is spun into a coming-of-age sci-fi period piece. That was awesome. Before the release of Badlands, there's an adult animated Predator movie that has a ninja, a Viking, and a World War II pilot. Hello, that's cool. And now you have a film entirely from the perspective of a young Predator. Wait, that didn't sound right.
The child predator.
It's crazy how a kind of dead franchise is thriving really well at Disney. But then these mega franchises like Star Wars and Marvel, with Disney, it's burnt to the ground. I'm gonna give more credit to Dan Trachtenberg. Within the last 6-ish years of owning this franchise, they have done so much more with the Predator movies than Fox has done in the last 32 years. And after seeing Predator Badlands, I really hope Disney keeps Trachtenberg around. But before we dive into Predator Badlands, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Any help you can give my channel, I would greatly appreciate. And if you're already subscribed to me, thank you so very much. Cast out from its clan, Dek, an alien hunter played by Demetrius Schuster Colomontangi, and an unlikely ally played by Elle Fanning, embark on a treacherous journey in search of Dek's prize target. Positives. Now, I don't think this film is as great as Prey, but it has so much going for it. The Predator has always been an antagonist, so let's make him a protagonist. The series always flirted with sci-fi. Let's make this thing a full-fledged sci-fi. And I know what you're thinking, these elements, while cliched and kind of basic in a bunch of other movies, it goes a long way in the Predator films. Let's keep a tally. Anytime I say Predator, it'll pop up here. Oh, brother. But these elements, yeah, it starts with our child Predator.
The child predator.
Dek, similar to Naru and Prey, he tries to prove himself by ultimately hunting the biggest, baddest creature on the planet. It's ultimately a cultural hurdle that our main hero has to overcome, and they think they have to win by playing the game. But whereas Naru has a bunch of other feelings, and she has her own thoughts on the tribe and the cultural norms, in the vein of other Predators, Dek, he really does not have any other personality other than kill. Gotta go after the biggest creature in the forest. But the film, it takes Dek on this film-long arc where he just learns that togetherness is not a weakness. And there's just as much value in a chosen family over your birth family and blah, blah, blah. You know, you've heard the whole James Gunn, group of misfits arc before. You know this arc. You've seen this arc. And it's cliched, yes, but I just think how they implemented it here with the culture of the Predators, it was well done. And in other films, I think this is a bit of a failing, but it succeeds here also because Dek, while he is constantly humbled and getting his ass kicked, he's not a screw-up entirely. He is still allowed to be a badass throughout the whole film. He's able to do these cool kills, and the actor, Demetrius, he really does a great job with his physicality. He is still allowed to be a badass and learn and make mistakes. You do get a more well-rounded character that way. And while the film, it's not as violent and gory as previous Predator films, I think it goes a long way in giving things fans really kind of wanted that they didn't even know that they wanted. You see a lot more of the Predator culture. Hell, the Predators in this movie, they don't speak any English. Like, they are speaking their alien language the entire time in subtitles, and like, it is so cool. Now, throughout the film accompanying Deck, you do have Thea, the cyborg female played by Elle Fanning. Throughout the film, she was written very annoying, and some of her lines were cringe, and like, look, she was hovering like really close to being in the negatives for me. Like, a lot of the time it was like, okay, but why are you here? But as the film went along, like, she did become more endearing, a little less cringe, and her arc, it entwined perfectly within Deck's arc. It's crazy how much of a turnaround it was, because she was really getting on my goddamn last nerves. But I think that just kind of shows you the range that Elle Fanning has. She has great rapport with Demetrius, who is Deck, even though Deck is basically like making Star Wars noises at her. And in another entry for the Year of the Twin, Elle Fanning plays really well off of herself, because you have Thea and then Tessa, and they're like two opposite sides of the same coin, but like, they play really well off each other. Why did everyone decide, like, simultaneously, let's make this a Year of Twins? Reel it back into what I was talking about with Elle Fanning here. Writing characters that are intentionally annoying, it's a very risky game. But thankfully, once the arc, like, truly kicked into gear with her character, and you kind of saw where they were going with it, she did become endearing over time. Although I'm subtracting 10 points for the filmmakers. Like, you went all the way in making the Predator, like, speak his Predator language, but you had her speaking English the whole time under the guise of, like, well, she's speaking the Predator language, but you don't have to hear her do that the entire time. Like, look, if you're committing to do it with the one guy, like, make her speak in the Predator language too. Like, it's really annoying. I mean, the performance is still good though. I don't think it would have taken away, like, having her just be like, block, 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 block. Negative. I'd be willing to wager that some of the critiques that this film might get from other people is the cliched plot and the pacing. Like, I can completely understand that from a lot of different perspectives, because, you know, you've seen this story like tons of times over and over and over again. But with a Predator film, I feel like you need just a couple of things. A really good hunt, a main character that's kind of the underdog, even if they don't know they're the underdog until like much later, and you need a lot of action. And even though this film, it shakes things up a little bit, it fills in all three of the criteria. Where I draw the line though with like the cliche story elements, it's the Baby Yodaization. That character's only there for most of the journey really, just to sell toys. Now, I gotta agree, baby cute, like baby do be cute. But it's very obvious that this creature was put in just to be a toy. If you really wanted to emphasize the importance of this creature, like, they could have been in for only like maybe 1 or 2 scenes, and then you move on. But having this creature kind of accompanying them and doing like cutesy antics, I see through the formula. And while it's not like the biggest negative in the world, it's very obvious to me what they're doing. You don't need that. The film, I think it runs just maybe a tad too long. If you look at the film, it has like 2 really satisfying endings. And if you chose like one of these endings, it would have been great. Like, I think like both endings are really solid. But the issue is that you have like this one climactic ending that plays out the full way, not going to spoil anything. And then once that's done, you have yet another really long climax, again, also really satisfying. It just goes on like a tad too long there too. And so I feel like if you're going to do both endings, you need to put more of an emphasis on one of these endings. And it's very obvious which one if you've seen the movie. So to wrap everything up here, I think that this was another great installment within the Predator franchise, especially within recent years. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Disney does next. I would give this film an 8.5 out of 10. Well, that's all the time we have for today here on Film Stash. My name is Douglas Campbell, and if you excuse me, I gotta add to the stash.